Andridge, our line of storms has arrived. It's got some nasty winds with it too. We're going to dissect this line. We're going to take a look at what parts are the stronger parts, what parts are the weaker parts, where they headed next, how much longer is it going to be until they arrive into your neighborhood, and estimated winds for your town too. I'm Finding Chief Meteorologist Matt Sanders. Got the weather team in here. We are tracking these storms as they've been marching south for the past couple of hours coming out of Kansas. Now, once this line passes through, there could still be some scattered showers for a while. We're watching some of those scattered ones off towards the west right now, but those could try to fill in a little bit over time. We'll see. But essentially, you're going to get hit pretty hard for about an hour. There'll be some rain for another hour, 2 hours, maybe even 3, and there could be a couple more rumbles, even getting close to midnight or so. So we're not completely out of the woods, but this is probably our most impactful line that's coming through. Now we can take a look at what's the strongest part by where the lightning is. Notice how the lightning is much more intense on the western side than it is on the eastern side. So here for a moment, we're getting all our other platforms up and running. We've been getting some new software, different things. So let us know if you guys see any kind of bugs, anything like that. Let us know what you're seeing. We appreciate you on that. Some of us have kind of going to be let us know every once in a while, and that's super helpful. All right. Here we go. So let's go ahead and dive in just a little bit deeper. So high resolution radar data. This shows you the severe thunderstorm watch that includes northwest Arkansas, where we already have a couple downpours trying to form ahead of the main line. These aren't severe, but they've got some rain in them. Good splash and dash. The watch goes to Crawford County, Sequoia County. Once these storms get south of the river, they're likely going to weaken. In fact, we have noticed these storms weakening already a little bit. In fact, I think the 80-mile-per-hour wind gust threshold is pretty much done. But this is our main kahuna. This is the main storm coming in towards the west. You get closer to Tulsa. So when you're looking at this line, at least for northwest Arkansas, these storms have weakened a little bit. Notice how there's not as much lightning in them right now. Coming into Bella Vista right now, they just hit the Highlands Golf Course. Gravette, rain coming in for us, Decatur, Gentry, and right around Heifel, XNA, and then Bentonville. We're going to be watching these storms next. I'll move the map just a little bit farther so you can see so the camera or the computers aren't blocking. Here's Beaver Lake. We're watching these storms come in for us. Pea Ridge, Garfield, get close to the state line, Gateway. Storms here within the next few minutes. Let's time this one out. I'll go ahead and kind of do a micro. We're going to do lots of these timings for you over next hour or so as these storms pass on through. So time right now, 7:47. Bella Vista basically already right now. Here in about 10 minutes for Bentonville. XNA here at 8. Here in about 10-15 minutes. Rogers in about 20 minutes or so. And then you get to Springdale maybe in another 20 minutes. We're going to be watching. Actually, that would be about 30 minutes. 30 minutes coming in for Springdale. There's the Arvis Ballpark. I want to show you what it looks like outside right now in Bentonville. We're going to use a lot of different cameras. Look at this. This is that shelf cloud starting to come in. Now, this camera is looking a little bit more west. Wish it could move a little bit more to the north, but there's a building block. I'm going to move this for just a second so you can see a little bit better. There you go. You're looking off north and west now, kind of in this direction. There's that storm. There it's coming in. Dark clouds will fill in over your town. Gusty winds start kicking up. This storm has about 60-mile-per-hour winds. The storms a little bit farther west that may not impact northwest Arkansas as much, you just go down the line, those have 70-mile-per-hour winds coming just east of Tulsa. Those storms could come towards the Fort Smith-Van Buren area, kind of similar to what we had last night. But we're going to take a closer look at the timing. We're going to diagnose that storm in just a second, but that's still maybe another hour or so out. Bentonville, we're now. This is our time watching these storms come in just from the north and west. I think I've got a couple other cameras. This is a look at the square. Looks like folks are trying to figure out, maybe headed to their cars here soon. Wind's starting to pick up a little bit around the trees. We still have a south wind coming into the square, but that storm is just off in the distance. Notice how you got some of those, we call them scud clouds, right along the edge of that shelf cloud pushing to the south. You're looking live outside. Let me change this really quick. We originally had a Fort Smith camera, had to switch. A lot of people still at the Spark Cafe. Try to get one more ice cream. There we go. Downtown Bentonville. There's some people still getting some ice cream there. But a lot of wind. We're going to probably see those trees move here a lot here in just a moment. A little bit farther south. Live looking Springdale, right along Sunset, 412. There's that storm in the distance. It's going to get more defined as it gets closer. But this is Washington County. Back north of Benton County, there's the edge right now. Wind's starting to come through. So look at the American flag, still have a southeast wind. That flag's going to switch directions here in a moment as that storm pushes through. Live look in Bentonville, getting real dark as these storms approach. Once again, if you have a chance still, I'd go ahead and charge any kind of devices because there could be some power outages, but it looks like right now they may be a little bit fewer than we originally thought because the wind speeds have decreased from 70 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour. All right, let's go back to the radar. I want to show you where the storm is right now and take a closer look at a few things. So looking at this line, this storm is the strongest. The ones off towards the east that are coming in next, they're still really good storms, but they're right at the threshold of severe. You lost some lightning here, so they probably won't be maybe as bright as the storms that we had last night. They're moving in, a couple other downpours too. This is the one to watch. This is the one, if it can hold, is going to cause us some problems farther to the south. But it also is showing a few signs of weakening too. The track does take it towards Fort Smith. So you go over Tahlequah, Lake Tenkiller here about 8:30, Vian 9:19, Fort Smith 9:39. So Fort Smith we still have about an hour and a half to 2 hours. A couple other towns, 9:29 and Salisaw. Every time I move it, the computer program kind of picks different. They're automatically chosen. But Muskogee 8:49. Yeah, right around 9:30 or so, give or take. I think we had one for Van Buren a second ago. Van Buren 9:29, Fort Smith 9:30. That's the one to watch. Now let's go back and take a look at that storm for Benton County. We've got, let me put this back now. All right, this line coming in. Bentonville pretty much now, about 5 minutes until it actually hits downtown. Rogers, 8:07 here in just about 15 minutes or so. Fayetteville, 8:24, Farmington, 8:25, Stillwell, 8:43. I'll move this around a little bit. We'll get a couple different towns. Fayetteville, there's Farmington, 8:27, Rogers, 8:08, Prairie Grove, 8:30, Mountainburg, 9:02. Let's see. We'll do just Benton County. Johnson, 8:23. The Crystal Bridges, my timing's way off. I think it's something else with the algorithm. But let's take a look at the winds. We'll take a look at winds, and then let's take a look at hail. Mainly a wind threat, but when you're looking at these storms, much stronger to the west. Now, it looks weaker over us. However, that's kind of a radar issue. Radar beam's going like this, wind's going like this, so it's hard for it to measure right now because the winds and the radar beam are at a T, and so it's hard to measure. It's kind of like a cop. It's better if the car's kind of going with flow. But anyways, we're watching this gust with lots of lightning come through Tulsa. We've got some wind too. If we can estimate it from our Fort Smith radar, notice how the bright colors come back. When we do that, I'm getting some speeds off camera. About 55, 56, 58. So right next to severe limits. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes the rest of Benton County and northern Washington County, except extreme southern Benton County. We've been cut off. But along and north of Highway 412, Sunset Avenue, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, extends in parts of Madison and Carroll counties. Eureka Springs, Berryville, we're also under this warning too. But definitely the winds are stronger to the west. Now let's take a look at hail. Looks like there's not a lot going on. A couple pockets in the bigger storm out west, but you're looking towards Benton County, and we don't see as much hail. There could also be a little bit of small hail mixed at any time with some of these larger raindrops that are falling. But there's our storm line, a couple of hail pockets. We can take a look at where the hail has already fallen for a little bit. There you go. So we haven't had massive hail with these storms so far. This shows you a history. It shows you the current scans and then some of the previous scans, and then it kind of takes them away over time. Got some hail coming towards I-44. There could be a little bit of hail near Sulphur Springs, Southwest City. Maybe a little bit of hail with this storm just to our north, headed more towards Branson. Maybe you could even get towards Carroll County. But Benton County, we don't have a lot of hail right now. It's mainly that wind threat that's coming in. Let's take a look outside, what it looks like. Live look in Springdale, getting closer. There's downtown Bentonville. Trees are starting to wave a little bit. Only looks like 2 people left, maybe 3. Can't tell if there's someone behind the sign there at the Spark Cafe. Get one more ice cream before the storm comes in. Live look in Bentonville. That dark cloud is pretty much passed right over the camera. It's over us. You get that wind and the dark cloud first. That wind's starting to pick up. There's the rain. Notice how it gets getting fuzzy. You look off in the distance. So here at this location, which is just south of the Walmart home office, rain's just about to come in. We're already probably starting to get some of that rain, extreme north side, of course, Bella Vista. You get towards the I-49, US 71, that interchange they built a couple years ago. That's where you're getting that heavy rain. Crystal Bridges next. You're hitting some of those mountain biking courses, the American Trail, north side of Bentonville, getting hit, and this is coming right in. So here's a look in Bentonville, a live look in Springdale. As storms get a little bit closer to the river valley, we're going to switch some of our cameras. It takes a second to switch. This is what it looks like outside. So Washington County, we still have a little bit of time, probably another 30 minutes or so. See some of the rain starting to come in. If you look really close, you can see a couple drops. It looks like some folks have got their windshield wipers on for a moment. So rain coming down. You're starting to see the pavement get a little bit more wet now too. So that storm's starting to ride in. Getting darker in Bentonville. I look in Springdale. All right, here are the storms again. I'm going to read you a couple things from the National Weather Service on this warning itself. The National Weather Service from Tulsa, for Benton County specifically, is talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds, maybe up to penny-sized hail in some of the stronger portions of this line. Let me move that box. There we go. Let's see. Could be a couple power outages. This storm is also slowing its speed. Notice how the warning is just a little bit thinner when they issued it. Notice how thick these warnings are back towards the west. Notice how they get a little bit skinnier to the south. We're noticing this part of the line has weakened a little bit and has also slowed down just a little bit. This one is also showing some signs of weakening, but it's definitely the stronger storm. This one's headed towards Tahlequah. We'll have to see how that heads towards Fort Smith in the next couple of hours. But decent storm coming for Bentonville, Rogers, anywhere around Prairie Creek, western Beaver Lake. This storm's just knocking on our doorstep right now. Let's use some high-resolution radar data, and we'll zoom into Bentonville again. There's that gusty wind threat. But notice how the line's also becoming a little bit more jagged. It's not as crisp. Look at the difference here. See how crisp this is? We can tell when you got a very crisp edge, you've got still some nasty winds. We still have an edge, but notice how it's just a little bit fuzzier. That's showing a couple signs of weakening too. More cells have developed ahead of the line. We got a good cell right over, looks like Rocky Branch, and headed towards Big Clifty. Northern parts of Madison County, a little bit of rain for us. Right around Washington County, we had some rain in and around Fayetteville. We're pushing east to Goshen, Sonora. These are just kind of preliminary pop-up showers, kind of a little appetizer before the main course comes in. This line sitting right over the state line. It's the heart of it, and pushing right now to Bella Vista and Bentonville. Here's a closer look at some. You see a little bit closer, Bella Vista, P. Ridge, Little Flock, Brightwater, getting that heavy rain coming right towards the Rogers Municipal Airport right now, right there at the Walmart FBO. Oops. Let's see. Zoom in a little bit closer again. Accidentally clicked off. Here's Pinnacle. You got the Mercy Hospital, Walmart AMP, right in here. Rain coming in for us. There's XNA. Storm clouds approaching very quickly from the north. Here's it back to velocity. It looks like if you had to pick on the Benton County storm, the western side's a little bit stronger. Look at those winds right now coming in. So Decatur, Gravette, up and down 59. We're watching that big gust of wind, 60 mile per hour. It looks like some of the data I'm getting for eastern Benton County may be closer to 55. Reading a couple things from the National Weather Service right now. National Weather Service saying there's about a 50-50 shot that they're going to issue a watch to extend through the rest of the river valley. So we may see that here shortly. Don't be surprised if this map kind of lights up with more watches coming in for Fort Smith, Poteau, Greenwood, Ozark, Mulberry, Clarksville, Paris. Over Clarksville, we've had some downpours too. See these popping up? South of the Strawberry Bluffs, hitting right in town. A couple lightning strikes too, it looks like. These are pretty tame. They're just moving east. Don't expect much from those. Even if they did become severe, it would take them time. They'd probably be deep into parts of Pope County and then headed towards Conway before they would really do anything here. A couple also downpours across Washington County, watching right over Fayetteville. For a second, most of Highway 62 is getting a couple downpours from Lincoln and Prairie Grove and Farmington. Now that's pushing east. So Greenland and West Fork, we're watching some downpours for us. But we've got to really watch this storm just off towards the north. I want to show you what it looks like outside. There's the edge a little bit closer, but notice it's starting to get a little bit fuzzier. That's also another sign of some weakening. That's good. You're looking live in Bentonville. Heavy rain. It looks like there could be a couple small pieces of hail that are bouncing around a little bit. Hard to tell. There's a ledge right here that this camera's on, so sometimes it bounces. That's one way to try to tell. Windy. Nothing too crazy, though, at the square. That's good. I've looked in just south of the Walmart home office. I may be able to turn this. Let's see. No, don't want to turn right now. That's okay. But we'll keep checking some of these cameras. There you go. Got tiny pieces of hail mixed in with some of this rainfall right now in Bentonville. Springdale, we're next. We're definitely next. So here's that line again. New severe thunderstorm warning for the bigger storm. I know it looks like one line, but we can kind of diagnose a couple different parts, and let's do that. So let's move. There's this, oops, not that one. There's this storm right here. Pretty chunky, pretty hefty. I'd say the second most powerful one is about right here. And a little bit weaker right here. So if I had to say, we got 1, 2, and 3. So yes, it's one line, but there's definitely different sections that are thriving or choking just out a little bit as they're coming through. So let's start from west to east, just make it simple, left to right, if you're looking at the screen. Still moving about 45, let's maybe with that. That puts us into Sallisaw, 9:13, Fort Smith, right around 9:30. Still about an hour and a half before it comes through, but right now it's still pretty nasty. You've already been hit really hard in Fort Smith. This line's still gonna come right through. Poteau, 9:50. Kavanaugh Hill, around 9:52. 9:50 as well, I shouldn't say 2, that's the number. All right, so let's look at the next cell. This one was western Benton County, about 60-mile-per-hour winds. The previous one had still about 70-mile-per-hour winds coming in. This storm pressing south. Right next to A, here in just about 5 minutes, it's right on our doorstep, just coming into the northern end of the runway. Fayetteville, 8:30, still watching that here in less than 30 minutes now. Fayetteville, you're going to be watching this storm come in. So you've got less than 30 minutes if you want to go ahead and move some lawn furniture real quick. If there's something easy, maybe there's at least a couple pillows you can drag in from the furniture, that outdoor patio set that you just bought this year, go ahead and put that in. Kids got a couple toys, maybe try to run and get them real quick and then head inside. Watch these storms roll on through. Stillwell, 8:51, Van Buren, also close to 9:30-ish or so. A couple of minutes first for Van Buren and then across the river and hit Fort Smith. So Van Buren, then Fort Smith, and then Paris, 9:41. Now let's take a look at the cell to the east. This one's probably the weaker one. Oops. Oops, I clicked out on accident. That's okay. Let's do this. This one's definitely weaker. So that puts it in Rogers moving in right now. Downtown Rogers already starting to get some of that rain. You know how Rogers kind of extends really far south and west? Kind of a weird shape. Rogers, Prairie Creek right now. Downtown Rogers right now. South side towards Pleasant Grove Road. They're about 8:09, 8:32 Elkins, 9:47 as you go through Venus and deep in Madison County. Clarksville, 9:25. And then you see 9:28 eventually crossing the Arkansas River. Russellville, 9:50. That's in 9:11. All right, so let's go look at some wind speeds now. So what you're seeing is with this purple, that's where the radar beam has a tougher time trying to exactly figure out how windy it is. Right here in northwestern Arkansas, and especially northwestern Benton County, you're starting to get kind of far from the radar beam, so it's a bit harder to get some of these numbers. But I'm going to help try to fill in a couple more pieces of data. So we've got potentially about 60. So I'm going to put the speed that let's see, so there's a 60. Could be up to registering about a 45 right here. About a 49 right here. So what I'm doing is I'm showing you what the wind speeds are with this line. They're dropping south and gradually weakening. Watching about a 55 right here. Maybe a 62 about right here. So that's something to watch. I mean, these are radar estimated, so it's tough to exactly say what's on the ground with its wind. Now if we go a little bit farther west, this storm that's pushing through Tulsa right now looks like it's generally 60 to 65. So it's this storm back west is the one that we're going to have to really watch as that comes in. Wide view across 5 country, still some downpours. Move this over a little bit. Don't want to block Clarksville. Clarksville, we're watching some of those downpours, a few rumbles of thunder, but there's that main line. Lots of wind with it. Straight line winds pushing on through. Even notice how this edge is getting a little bit more jagged as well. That's a sign of some weakening. However, there's still a pocket of light. Look at this recent pocket. If this keeps up, what sometimes happens is when you get a pocket of lightning like this, it could help surge part of the storm. And if we start getting another arrow forming, that'll really drive gusty winds right towards Salisaw. So sometimes these storms cycle just a little bit. Storm off to the east, coming into Benton County. Rain now for Bentonville. Also kind of jagged. Still some healthy winds coming on through. Let's see, just looking at National Weather Service. Nothing quite new. I think they're mostly focused on this storm that's to our west, but with its southeast trajectory puts it towards Fort Smith and Van Buren. So we'll have to watch that one very closely. Live look in Bentonville. Live look at the square. Heavy rain coming down. And here's Springdale. Getting a little bit closer. I'm going to activate the Springdale iCam. See what we can see. Takes just a second. All right, looking at some data for the Tulsa area. That storm has over 60-mile-per-hour winds that people have been registering. Just bringing that up because that's the one headed towards Fort Smith. All right, so you're looking live. Look at this. Look at this. There's the shelf cloud coming on in. Heavy rain on the backside. This shelf cloud's a little bit higher right now than some of the previous ones that we've had for the past couple of days. But there she is, coming on in. I'll look a little bit more due north. There you see it. You see right that it just goes all the way. You're looking towards Beaver Lake. Shelf cloud coming in, gusty winds, mainly 50 to 60 miles per hour. You look back off towards the west, and it may get a little bit, yeah, see how it goes? A little bit more intense. Look at that. It's a little bit more defined. Watching 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. You go deep into Oklahoma. So you're looking there from Sunset. You're looking down Highway 412. Man, this is a pretty shelf cloud coming on through. See some of those striations too, Just shows you got a good thunderstorm coming in. But what's also good, you're looking all the way down. We don't have any rotation right now, but you can verify that. You don't see anything off in the distance, nothing coming down, just a lot of wind, a lot of heavy rain too, and sometimes very small pieces of hail. But you're looking at that, there's your shelf cloud right there. See the kind of little overhang? What's going on is there's a south wind, feeds right into that. Tell you what, if you had an airplane right there, it'd try to suck it right in. It's just kind of like a vacuum. It's just trying to pull that heat and humidity that we built throughout the day. Sun came back out today and really warmed us up again. So it's feeding into the storm, and it comes out and dumps there back on the backside. So the storm clouds get pretty dark first, and then the rain comes in. There's looking back west. Now you're looking east. Look at that. Looks like it's a little bit lower as you go towards Beaver Lake. But there's that shelf cloud anywhere from Beaver Lake all the way west to Siloam Springs there at the kayak park along the Illinois River. Watching this shelf cloud just blast on through. Gets real dark too. Of course, we're getting close to sunset anyways. Those will make the sky make sure it feels darker much faster. Makes it kind of feel like sunset's going to take place a lot sooner. But you can see over time, look how it's just moving. See as it's rushing towards the south right now. Looking back off towards the west. Just kind of looking at these clouds. Very turbulent skies too. There's the top of the camera. We're not going to have a view here in a second because the heavy rain and wind are going to hit. All right. And let us know what you guys are seeing. If you're seeing a cloud like this, let us know what it looks like. I'll leave this up for just a second. Let's see. All right, any new updates from Tulsa? National Weather Service still watching for the potential 60-mile-per-hour winds, Benton, Carroll, Madison, Washington counties, and then Delaware County in Oklahoma. All right, so let's go ahead and move. There's a lot of look in Bentonville. Winds starting to calm down already. Still breezy. You still see the trees on the square moving around a little bit, but that wind is already starting to weaken a little bit. This live look in Bentonville. We're going to have to move that camera here in a moment. I'm going to probably just go ahead and switch this camera. You're going to see it change here in just a second. We'll have a live look from Fayetteville. Let me switch the banner real quick. But you're looking from the square, you're looking, there's Old Main, there on the left-hand side of your screen. And clouds are also about to be dark in Fayetteville too. Good storm for us as well, but there are some signs of weakening. That's great news for us. All right, I'll go back to the radar. Just kind of want to do a quick camera tour with you guys. There's that line coming right in. Significant weakening. Look at this. Look at this. Right in here. You're not seeing as many reds. That's just showing you rainfall has already decreased a little bit too. Still a warning, but it looks like this kind of middle part is weakening a little bit. Got a nice little core right here. We'll have to watch that as it dives south towards Lake 10 Killer, Fort Gibson, and Tahlequah, and eventually towards Fort Smith. Right now in Bentonville, I'll get the high resolution data. You see some weakening there. That's good. Man, it's just a lot of heavy rain. A lot of heavy rain. We need some more rain, but we don't want it in these kind of bouts where you get 2 inches real quick. So let's do another timeline. Let's see what this storm's moving out west for Fort Smith. Still moving, now it's even decreased itself. It's moving at 45. So let me update that. Let's move this storm out. Try that again. There you go. All right, Fort Smith. Because it's starting to slow down a little bit, that's good news. They could pick it back up speed. We'll let you know when that happens. 9:51 in Fort Smith. So we still have hour and a half still. So that's kind of delayed us by 20 minutes if it keeps up this slower pace. Poto 1022. Chautauqua 843. Storm in northwest Arkansas. Let's push it through the rest of northwest. Arvest Ballpark is coming right in at Highway 412, 816. There's a time, 826. In Fayetteville, 833 Prairie Grove, and 839 in West Fork. So just throughout the 8 o'clock hour, this is going to be Benton County or Washington County's turn. We're kind of finishing up for the edge coming crossing the state line. Bentonville, Rogers, some heavy rain continuing. Prairie Creek, still pretty heavy rain too for us. Good signs of some little bit of weakening. But throughout the River Valley, we still have another hour or so to go before we're going to watch this line come in. Just helping a couple stuff to the National Weather Service. We sometimes send them a couple photos of the storm clouds, what they look like, because they can look at satellite radar all day long too. Sometimes they just want to see what it looks like. All right. So let's go back. There's that look in Springdale again. Keep this up for a moment because we'll lose it here in a second. Now we're kind of in the shade of that storm. Look at that. So very turbulent underneath, kind of like an umbrella under the cloud. Look how turbulent that is too. Even got a little bit of a modest trying to filter in. That's where it kind of looks bubbly there. Gust of winds plus the darker cloud right over your head. That's first. And the rain doesn't start until later. But you can see that rain cloud. Look how it gets really shady, really hazy and shady as you're looking right along Highway 412, trying to go to Tawnytown. Maybe you're headed to the winery there where you got the festivals going on here very soon in August. Rain coming in, a couple raindrops hitting us on the lens now. You see Sam's Club about to get some heavy rain too. Looks like we got some greenage too. There could be a little bit of small hail trying to come in, but the rain is now coming in. It's going to inundate this camera, and then we're not going to be able to see very much. Folks already got their lights on. Their car is ready to go. Now you're looking back east towards Robinson Avenue, Emma Avenue, looking towards the Springdale Airport, downtown Springdale, Springdale High School, watching that shelf cloud come through. You're zooming in. Look at this. Now you're talking. Look at that storm as it's pushing on through. North wind's already taken place. Winds have already hit us in Springdale. We're not raining yet, but that's a clear indication. There's that gust coming right through, hitting us at the camera too just a little bit. See that camera just moving just a little bit. Send that picture as well. All right. Look at a couple other cameras. Live look again in Bentonville. Trees have calmed down a lot. Now just rain. That's great. Okay, so Fayetteville Square, we're starting to look off in the distance. Watch out for you guys. I'm going to move Bentonville. We're going to change this. Going to see how the sausage is made. We try not to do this on air too much, but sometimes you just got to. But I'm going to move Bentonville. We're going to look from Marshall's Museum. Let's go ahead and change this. All right. Beautiful evening right now. And you look over the Arkansas River. There we go. United States Marshal Museum. Hope you had a chance to go. Awesome museum. River. Looks beautiful, right? Looks like a wonderful Sunday or summer evening. That's about to change here quickly as these storms mush on through. Look at that, live look in Springdale. Wind's really picking up. Fully catching that American flag right now. Let's see. Carroll County. Gusty winds for us too. So let's go ahead and go back to radar. There's storms. Also, look how the storm's starting to thin just a little bit for its the most intense rainfall. That red zone's getting a little bit thinner. Also another sign of weakening. Still very intense out towards the west. In fact, looks like there may be a slight increase in some of the lightning too on some of that latest scan, just right over the radar in Tulsa. Headed south and east next. This is the one to watch. This is definitely the one to watch coming into Fort Smith. You go towards Carroll County. Good storm for us right over Eureka Springs and Berryville. Carrollton, we're about next. Kavanaugh about to get hit too. Highway 412 is about to get the rain. You saw that view coming in from Springdale. Rain's just starting to arrive. Kind of interesting to see how these clouds look when you're underneath the storm, but the rain hasn't quite come yet. This is a very small window where you can kind of do this. It's a nasty looking storm there. Let's see where you see the rain. Yeah, it looks like you can actively see it coming into Tawnytown now. You see how the city lights are getting kind of fading away. You see some raindrops hitting the windshield, so we're just about to lose this camera too. So keep losing cameras on our way south. Back to the wide view. There's the storm line. Here's a wide view, real wide view, across the whole region. We're getting some of the strongest storms of the country right now, coming through Northwest. When you zoom out, it gets a little bit easier to see where the lightning pockets are too, right? You see this one, back west of Tulsa, headed towards Fort Smith. We'll get you another timing, but earlier it was about 9:50. Looking back off towards the east, another good storm for us in Carroll County and headed right to Branson. Storms just clocking on through. More storms out west too. These are more individual, discrete, so they've got a higher hail potential. Usually lines have a bigger wind potential as they just kind of shovel the atmosphere in a big old way, just all gusts out. We'll have to see the trajectory of these storms. Hopefully they keep moving south and east. There have been some indications if we weren't able to kill off all the energy, we could have a couple redeveloping cells towards Wichita that will try to come in. So far, we're not seeing that. But we'll keep you updated if that kind of happens. But there's that line marching right through Northwest Arkansas. Let's take a closer look throughout the river valley on timing for us. I'm afraid this is coming right to us. There's one more timing. Podo 951 after 10 o'clock in Podo. Fort Smith 951, I should say. Then after 10 o'clock in Podo, 931 in Sallisaw. Muskogee 847. Let's do other parts of the line too, because that's not all the river valley. Let's do a little bit of the weaker side of the storm. It might be a little bit weaker for us in Franklin County and Logan County if we keep this progression going as kind of the eastern half weekends, western half stays pretty potent. Boonville 1018, Clarksville 941, Ozark 937, Stillwell 905, and then Fayetteville appear at pretty much any moment. This is what it looks like outside right now. In Fort Smith, and a live look in Springdale, live look from Fayetteville. You're looking to the northwest, went ahead and turned on the lights for Old Main. You see how you can still kind of see the horizon, between the horizon and the clouds, and then you look on the other side of Old Main, gets a lot fuzzier right along those treetops. That's where your heavy rain is right now. So heavy rain's going to kind of come in at this angle, right as the camera's focused. We're going to be watching that come into the square here at any time. Lighting's also decreased just a little bit. I'm going to pull up another camera. We're going to switch Springdale out because right now we're just getting the heavy rain. Sometimes the camera shakes just there a little bit. Also, from a lightning standpoint, this is kind of a tough time of day to see lightning here at kind of dusk. And so we're getting a lot of that heavy rain. There's still some light, so there's still a little bit of lightning, but it's not as bright as it was last night. But also, since there's still a little bit of daylight, it kind of takes the edge off some of those lightning strikes for us. So that's good. Let us know how loud it is, but sometimes you can still see kind of the screen generally glow. That's some of that lightning. We're going to switch to the Mercy camera in Fort Smith. All right, so this is what it looks like outside down Rogers Avenue. Nice, kind of quiet evening so far. That'll change here shortly if that storm from Tulsa continues to hold. And right now it is. Here's once again a wide view. Looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Madison County. Coming right through Carroll County. Still no warning for Washington. If this storm continues to weaken, they may not issue a warning. We'll have to see. But we're about to get to the edge of the warning. We'll know here very shortly if there's an extension. Looks like Fayetteville got some rain right now on the south side, right over Greenland, right over there, Drake Field. You go north, University getting a little bit of rain, especially the south side of University. Our Fayetteville camera is about right here, right on the edge. We have the camera pointing northwest, but I tell you what, there's some buildings kind of looking southwest, so it's a bit harder to see. So I have it pointed this way. There's that storm coming right into Springdale, Elm Springs, getting that rain now. Rogers, we're getting inundated. If we go back north, though, let's show you what's going on now in Bentonville. Notice how in Bentonville, things have already lightened up a little bit. Still very heavy rain on the south side of Bentonville, there to Cave Springs. You go south of Bentonville High, north of Bentonville High, right over Centerton West and Crystal Bridges, Walmart Home Office. Rain is dying off a little bit. We still have rain, but it's not as that big downpour as it was definitely earlier. Rogers, same story. You've got downtown right here. The heavy rain's about to end in downtown. If you live around Prairie Creek, heavy rain starting to dissipate here in just a few moments for us. Got a good swath here just for the past 30 minutes or so. That's pushing south. You go right up and down 71. You go past Gabby's Bakery. There's that Walmart. You head towards the intersection where you can go on New Hope Road, turn right, go right down towards the Pinnacle Hills area. Heavy rain for us, but that's going to be ending here shortly too. X&A, heavy rain over us. A few lightning strikes there, especially on the east side of the runways, there towards Cave Springs. And then you push south, right over Washington County. There we're looking, Tawnytown, right over Springdale, right over Highway 412. Lots of heavy rain, but more cells developing to the south. What's going on is the atmosphere, we keep having that south wind try to produce extra rain. And as that's happening, these storms could try to choke the main line. That's good. We just get more rain out of it. Still, flood watch is in effect because of all this heavy rain, because of the rain we had last night, more rain being added tonight. But definitely a weakening right now. So it's mainly a rain event. So I'm going to go ahead and can talk about wind is the biggest threat here. Mainly got heavy rain now in northwest Arkansas, but then there's also kind of a wind threat for Carroll County. The storm's still pretty strong coming in. It's even stronger once you head to Branson. Look at that sharp edge coming right through Branson. Still some wind, Carroll County. It really looks like this thing is weakening right over the metros in northwest Arkansas. That's some good news for us. Boy, this storm is still pretty intense though. Weakening a little bit, but still pretty intense. Pretty much done with Tulsa now, coming through Broken Arrow and Bixby. So you go to Muskogee next, going down the Muskogee Turnpike. You're headed towards Salisaw. Once you hop on I-40, we're going to be watching. But it definitely looks like overall, this is our strongest storm. Right here. What you're seeing right now is that this is becoming a little bit more of a tropical storm, where you see this all the time in Florida, where storm moves through and you can see the extra moisture just being pumped in. There's just so much water in the atmosphere, almost getting waterlogged. While this one, it's still kind of just plowing through okay. But boy, we're running into a lot of water. We actually have, when you look at the winds, they're a little bit more intense in the upper levels, coming up and down I-49, and that's helping to feed this. A little bit weaker back off towards the west, so you're still getting a south wind, but I think there may be even too much right now. Just everything's being forced to go up, and that kind of puts speed bumps on the storm right here. You got the line of storms, you got these speed bumps coming in, helping to weaken this storm as it pushes south. Adair County, we're watching a couple downpours over us now form. All right, so I'm gonna look, when does this one expire? 8:30. That's what it looks like. Looks like a little bit of a washing machine right now in Springdale. I want to show you what it looks like. Oh, I don't have that camera in it. We switched it, didn't we? Here's Fort Smith. I was looking off camera for a second. Just lots of heavy rain in Springdale. That's where the heaviest rain is right now, right over Springdale, Tawnytown, Salem Springs. Fort Smith, we're gonna be next. Fayetteville Square, seeing those low clouds. There's some lightning right over Old Main. Looking at the university, looks pretty, right? Storm cloud's about to blow through. Eventually, we're not gonna really be able to see Old Main anymore once that rain shaft starts to move in. You see the edge of the rain shaft right here. There's the edge coming in over some of the hillsides, coming in from Johnson. Gonna hit north side Fayetteville first right there towards the Uptown District. There out along Zion Road and Joyce. Push south down College, south on I-49 and coming right past Stephen Carr into Weddington, and then MLK. There's Fort Smith again. Two different views in Fort Smith. There's along the Arkansas River. Here's downtown Fort Smith. Even more downtown Fort Smith, kind of on the other side of the building. Here's the bridge. Garrison Avenue Bridge. Live look deeper into Fort Smith. Mercy Hospital right there up and down Rogers Avenue. Looking back west, starting to get darker. You're also seeing a little bit turbulent of a sky. If you look close to the Fort Smith, see these striations right here? We're watching some, they're called gravity waves. These storms put out a lot of energy, not just in terms of rainfall and lightning, but also just kind of gravitational waves pushing through the atmosphere, and you're noticing those right now in Fort Smith, kind of looking, what's going on up there? That's what's happening right now. All right. What we're gonna do is we are gonna watch this storm coming in from Fort Smith. We're gonna take a quick break. Severe thunderstorm warning now, canceled, expired for Northwest Arkansas. We have seen a lot of weakening. That is some good news. Lots of heavy rain. Let us know if you have any kind of damage as that wind was passing through. It's definitely stronger in northern Benton County and continued to weaken across the county from Bentonville once you got into Rogers, and then Lowell and Bethel Heights, it was weakening. Salem Springs has been weakening from the wind side. Still a lot of heavy rain. Still have active warnings back off towards the east. Once you head into Carroll County, northeastern Madison County. The main blast of the wind, though, is right here. So yes, you still have the warning, but the main blast of wind is now eastern Carroll County. This is our next storm. Once this storm gets a little bit closer to us, we'll go ahead and jump back right on here on our live platforms. We're going to take a quick break, look at a couple things off camera from just the atmosphere standpoint. Sometimes I got a couple other things I want to look at when it comes to the low-level jet. A few other different things, the different temperature profiles. We'll take a look. We'll give you that information here shortly. Quick break. Make sure you keep it here. Keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.